Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Another very, very special video for all the wrong reasons, basically. As you would have seen last night, Brett Ratten was sacked as St Kilda coach. And just now, just moments ago, Simon Lethlean and Andrew Bassat sat down and did a press conference. And I am joined by none other than Matthew Marsh from the Saints TV podcast. Marshy, what's
Oh,
going
you did,
on?
Jake. Oh, Jeepers Creepers. Plenty by the sounds of it. And I don't know. When Jeff Walsh came out and said that we needed to be relevant, I'm not sure if I had this in mind, but here we are.
What did you, give me your initial reaction when you found out last night about the news. I want to hear your thoughts on it, and then we'll talk about the presser a little bit.
I couldn't believe it. It was just, yeah, everyone was shocked, and by the sounds of it, so was Ratten. But yeah, no, as you saw my reaction in the thread, it was very, yeah, couldn't believe what was going on. Yeah, shocked, as
Yeah,
a lot of other sayings out there. That's how I'd sum it up.
yeah. It
What
just,
What
I don't
about
know.
you?
Yeah, no, I was genuinely very shocked. Like I kind of sat there for a minute and kind of checked with a few other people if it was like 100% and not just some rumor circulating. And then
Mhm.
hopped on the camera last night and just kind of filmed my reaction because I was like, "What the hell's going on?" I haven't been this shocked since probably Ross Lyon bailed, or even GT after the '06 final when we lost. The next day he was gone, pretty much
Yeah, fair
against
call, fair
Melbourne when
call.
we got knocked out. So I was like, I haven't been this shocked in a while, but I was like sad for Ratton, but then at the same time, I'm like, is this that line in the sand moment that could, we look back on in 4 years' time and be like, at the time, it seems rushed. It seems a bit clunky, kind of like
Mhm.
the press conference a little bit, but
Yeah.
maybe it could be the start of something that this club desperately needs. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, you're right. I hadn't really thought about it in terms of how previous coaches have, I guess, exited the doors. And yeah, Ross Lyon, that was a huge shock, and everyone was quite upset about that one. And
Mm,
Waters, you could see coming, and I think a lot of people were quite happy with that outcome. Richo, that was staggered, and but you could
mm.
kind of see that that was on the cards, and that was sad. But yeah, poor Rats. Yeah,
Yeah.
out
Well,
of nowhere.
the club obviously had to come out pretty quickly and talk about it because there's so much news around it, a lot of rumors, a lot of people talking about potential coaches who can come in, who's that guy that's gonna or girl that could come in
Yeah.
and do the job. And the press obviously just finished, and that's the main reason for doing this video with you. So,
Mhm.
give me your thoughts on Andrew Bassett and Simon Lethlean and what they had to say.
I think it's about what they didn't say. I think has rankled, or just uh, you started it off with saying that this could be a positive step in the right direction, and it could very well be. But as it stands, that presser was an opportunity, the first opportunity for them to instill some confidence in the supporters, the members. We're the most important stakeholder, not the media that are there. And unfortunately, I reckon they failed on that front because I get that they wanted to, as all sort of those kind of press conferences go in terms of someone leading their position, it's usually all about them. And it was quite obvious that Ratten wasn't there.
Mm,
So, Richo, he had his farewell speech and all of that, and all these other examples, but Ratten wasn't there. So I felt that that was an opportunity to sort of, I think hiding behind being respectful to Ratten and making the press
mm.
conference about him was a bit of a cop out, really.
Yeah. What did you think of them, I guess, backtracking on the 2-year extension? Do you reckon
Yeah.
the press could have pushed them a bit more on that? They had a bit more responsibility in doing that, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely they did, because as soon as the presser finished, it sort of on the AFL app, it went back to Nat and Damo, and I
Mm.
really can't stand Barrett, but I think Nat was really she was spot on with some of her comments, and pretty much exactly that. That there was quite a few things left unsaid,
Yeah.
and I think going back to your question about whether or not, about pressing about the mid-year extension. I think that was one of the few things that they did sort of clear up, in that they wanted it to be stable. They thought it wasn't the right decision at the time. They got it wrong, and kind of explain their reasoning. So I was pretty comfortable about that. It was more what was, they were clearly not there to discuss the review, which is strange because that's solely what has led us to today. Tonight.
Yeah. That was my next question, was like, what was the number one thing that you wanted to take out of that presser? For me, it was kind of like, it would be kind of proactive if they already had someone kind of lined up, but Lethers was very much like, we're not going to approach anyone until, there's a vacancy in the senior coaching position. And now there's a vacancy. So pretty much from today, they will be able to approach it. But do you really believe that? Do you believe that they have not spoken to someone? I find, yeah. Surely you said it yourself that surely they would have spoken to someone. They know who, because they were saying like they know the type of coach that they want. They know the characteristics of the coach.
Yeah.
So if you know that, surely you have a face, a profile of kind of who you want to target.
That's right, and acknowledge that they're gettable, that they're willing to coach St Kilda, because it's all well and good to go to the market and have your picnic in mind, but if there's, if they've sold out of the bun me's, then you're just getting whatever else there is available.
Yeah, so, spring rolls.
Yeah. Hang on one tick, sorry.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks. Oh, is it? Oh, beautiful.
Or is it? Have you got some banh mi's delivered there?
Nah, no banh mi's. Just some information missing from the document, but that's okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. All good.
Yeah. Sorry. Where are we at?
No, I'm just wondering kind of who your profile of our next coach could be, because obviously there's I guess the exciting thing is there are a few names out there that are capable. Like there are some established names that we could poach who are assistants in their own right and good ones. There are people that have been there and done that, like a Choco Williams. There's even, I think Lepage has been talked up a fair bit. I think I don't know if he's at Richmond, isn't he? Justin Lepage?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he's very highly regarded. Obviously, Nathan Buckley's high profile. Grant Thomas is probably definitely a very loose one and not going to happen. Ross Lyon is another name that comes to mind. James Hurd was flagged, but I surely don't see that happening.
Surely not.
Who's your pick, Marshy? What would your senior coach and assistant coach lineup look like next year?
Yeah, it's a great question, but I definitely wouldn't have it as, and everyone's talking about the Uzes, the Lepages and that. If we're going to be getting rid of Ratten, we want a coach who has done more than what he has done.
Yeah,
so
I believe that.
To me, that rules all of them out. And like Uze, if he could, I suppose he was coming up against Clarko, but he's missed out on a few jobs. So who I want. It kills me to say this, but I think you might have mentioned it in the thread, but the sort of a Ross Lyon transitioning to Lenny a la a Ruse Goodwin scenario, that would be tasty. I think that in 150th year of Saints footy, it doesn't get much more Saints footy than that. So I reckon either Ross the boss. Has there ever been a coach that has come back to a club?
I don't think so. I was thinking that too. I was like,
it happens in rugby. It's rugby league. It's happened a bit, like Wayne Bennett. He's sort of had a few stints at the Broncos or whatever. But AFL, I don't think it's happened before. So I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, no. But Choco, I would like Choco as well.
Choco would be nice. Yeah. What about Buckley? Would you look at Buckley or nah? Because Buckley would be similar in that, like Rats, we're giving him a second chance as well. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So do we go from having one coach that we gave a second chance who was sacked to then another one who was pretty much sacked, I think, and then giving him a second chance? do you see like someone like Buckley being a good pick?
Oh, yeah, that's another interesting one, isn't it? Like, because he
Yeah.
got him that close
He got
to,
him to as close as Ross Lyon got us, really.
yeah. So in
Um,
a way, it would be kind of maybe like for like. I think
yeah.
Ross obviously has more presence about him,
Mm.
and it, there is that unfinished business romance to it all. So yeah, look, I wouldn't be that against Buckley if he, but at the end of the day, the coach has to really want it. And so far, yeah, Ross is. Yeah, I'd like to know what he thinks of the vibe down at Moorabbin.
Oh yeah. I mean, Grant Thomas is all over Twitter at the moment. He's giving his thoughts. He's not holding
Yeah,
back.
I heard him
Um,
on SEN this morning, and yeah, he was awesome to listen to, and yeah, called it pretty black and white and red, I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah. Let's go through. I've got it. I tweeted just before, just thoughts on that press conference for Saints fans.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
obviously you're a bit frustrated with the presser. Watching it, I was kind of like, oh, those are some good points, but also there's like heaps of that, heaps of the important stuff missing. So they
mm-hmm.
kind of just teased a bit of it, but this is kind of what the general vibe is from Saners.
Yeah,
Chad said, I don't mind it, but there's nothing that tells me this will be different to the other 6 or 7 times I've seen us go through this. And unlike
yeah.
some of those times, we don't have a great list to tinker with. Um, Soups has said, very good. Best one I've seen from the club in a long while. Line in the
The
sand
presser.
moment. Yeah, line in the sand moment for Bassat, who owned the decision and potential hindsight regret of contract renewal. Can't argue with their decision, and the press conference was what I needed to hear as a supporter.
Okay.
This one's from Bots. Only saw half of it, but from what I saw, it was okay. A plus, let's go Rossi. That's from Jake Doss. CH the Hodge Dog says
The hot
embarrassing
stuff.
heads in the sand. So he thought it was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Luke says Bassett said we have a coach. Lethlean didn't want to let it slip. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Philippi says didn't hear him say we have one. That's in regards to the coach comment. The spin says, as far as sacked coached presses go, that was as respectful and transparent as it gets. Both Bassett and Lethlean were very impressive. With Walsh, too, our leadership looks to be in safe hands. Brutal, but safe hands.
Yeah.
Tim says they just about answered their reasoning for sacking him as just cause. So Tim's not very happy about that. And then Will says, absolute train wreck. I have zero faith in the ability of Lethlean or Bassett to lead our club effectively. Ratten was a scapegoat for the issues that have proliferated through our club over the last 5 years, and that rot starts at the top. And then Liam says, train wreck is complimentary. I'm not even sure dumpster fire truly tells how awful that was. So there's a mixed bag. There's some Saners got what they needed from it. Some didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit annoyed that Lethlean kind of talked about the review, how it was really detailed and it went through every line of coaching, every line of staff, basically. But no one kind of said like, so how like is your job at risk? Is James
Yeah.
Gallagher's job at risk? Is it going to stem even deeper? But it seems like everyone
Mm-hmm.
else is safe. It was just let's just change the coach. So it's
Well,
maybe
that's
scapegoat is the right call. I don't know.
100%, and yeah, that yeah, I think I touched on it at the start, and someone in those
Mm,
comments said that I was really comfortable. The only good thing out of that presser was that I thought they made it pretty clear about rats and their decision for that, and the blah blah blah. But it was you can't have Lethlean and Bassett. Lethlean was overseeing the whole.
mm,
That was his job. He was the footy manager. So a lot of these things, it's not just the one decision about the contract extension. It's everything else that they've gone out and
yeah,
instigated a review.
yeah,
So hindsight or whatever, but you would have thought that I work in community aged care. If we get
mm,
accredited, we're not running the accreditation ourselves. It's completely external because that's the whole point of it. So
mm,
I reckon, yeah, you can't review yourself without,
yeah,
it's just compromise from the get go. So I think another part of that was a bit frustrating was Bassett said that members would only be informed of the high level findings of the report. No, bugger that. We want warts and all. Not
Yeah, we
everyone's going
want
to
the
go
whole
through
thing.
it. We
Yeah.
want the whole thing because you can bet your bottom dollar there'll be members in the media that have got zero, investment in St Kilda that will have access to this report. The members deserve it. So I think that's the very least that they can do. And, if it means in the report they change the names for confidentiality, we don't need to know that. We just want to know what what
What
it's
the
all
findings
about,
were. Yeah.
what the findings were, not just what they cherry pick to think what, we want to hear. I want the whole lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Saints
I
footy,
thought
huh?
yeah, I know. Our last point, this was kind of a key takeout for me, was that they asked Bassat, was he set up for success? Like, did he have the support around him?
Yeah.
Did he have exactly what he needed around him? And it's really just comes down to him. And Andrew Bassat, this was one part that I liked. He said, like, I'd be lying if I said that, we did set him up for success, because we didn't. We didn't have the full support around him. But at the end of the day, he said, even if he did have the support, he still believes that the club need a new leader, a new direction, a new voice. So regardless of whether he had the support or not, I thought it was interesting that Bassat said we would still be in this position.
Yeah.
So it's, there was parts of the presser I thought, yeah, okay, good. That's clear. That's ruthless. I like that they continually talked about contending. But is that still just a bit of spin? Is that still just to keep the members on board, Because it's like right now we kind of don't know where we're at. And
Well, that's
we
right. And
really do need a coach to kind of set that direction.
we do. And I think the journos that attended the press conference are pretty hopeless, in my opinion, because they were just asking about the Jordan De Goey. Who cares about Jordan
I
De
know.
Goey? And I
Jordan De
think
Goey, it's irrelevant.
it really is. And so I enjoyed Lether's response to that. But yeah, I guess there were some very obvious things that they were kind of skirting around, which we've just touched on, that I felt that they could have asked a bit more of a pointed question about some of those things. But, you get
that's
that for
it.
big jobs.
That's it, mate. Well, thank you very much for jumping on for a quick chat. I thought it'd be worth it.
All good.
I know you were pretty passionate about the presser and the news, so I thought I'd get you on and have a chat. Obviously, we'll be back. We'll do an emergency podcast Monday night, hopefully with Joycey, and get his thoughts on it as well.
Extraordinary podcast,
mate. This would have to be the biggest news the channels probably had since I started it. Don't you think? I haven't had a sacked. Oh, I've had Richo, but that was kind of expected. This is a bit more of a shock. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. So we'll have to sink our teeth into it. But hopefully, that's the other thing, is that we want timelines in the coming weeks. That's not good enough. So,
well, Lethers did say that we will have a coach before pre-season commences, which is just November 22. November 22nd is when the players come back. Over a month away, but I reckon we'll do it sooner. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Fun time. St Kilda, we're relevant again.
Yep, we've St Kilda. We were quiet during the trade period, but we thought, get stuff. We're going to sack our coach the next day.
Oh, jeez.
Bang.
Yeah.
Saints go bang.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
All
right, mate. Take care. I'll chat to you very soon.
Just quickly. I think it'd be remiss of us not to just quickly touch on that. Yeah, a big thank you to Brett Ratten. He's
absolutely. He got us to finals 2020. What a beautiful roller coaster 2020 was. The vibe. He brought excitement back to Saints footy. Some of our best wins in the last 6 or 7 years, obviously under Rats. It's just a shame that after the bye this year, we couldn't continue that form, because you wonder if we do make finals, things could have been a bit different. But at the same time, he gave us some good wins, some good, exciting times as a St Kilda coach. So we wish him all the best. And I really hope he does find another good job in the AFL, because I feel like he's got a lot to give still to the AFL world. Yeah.
And I think, what he's done now, whoever comes into the next job will be pretty thankful for the foundations he's put in place. So I think we're in And just quickly, the characteristics. That was the buzzword about the new
Mm.
coach. What do you think the characteristics are that they're inferring to? If you had to take a pot shot,
Ruthlessness
Mm-hmm.
is going to be one. It's going to be stern, ruthlessness, and I guess have that long-term vision. That's what I liked
Yeah,
about that. That was another part of the presser I liked was they mentioned, we might get caught up in like fans becoming impatient and therefore we kind of do things with a short-term sort of point of view and just try and get
yeah,
wins on the board, but we're not planning for that long-term sustained success like the contenders like Geelong and like Sydney. They want someone like that to come in and be able to do that. So whoever comes in, it's not going to be to quickly get up the ladder and win the flag next year. It's going to be to really set up for the next 5 to 10 years, which is kind of what
yeah,
I hoped we would have done with Rats anyway. But I think obviously getting Brad Hill, Zachy Jones, all these guys involved, that was clearly a sign of the opposite, which was let's try and get a flag quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. So now we need someone to come in and take it long term. So I think ruthlessness is the big one for me. I want someone to come in, and if someone's not playing right for a week, you're gone. Ross Lyon, he drops Dan Butler in round 3. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not afraid to
Mm-hmm.
make those hard calls. We need a coach that can make hard calls and be good to the players. But I think Rats was quite cuddly, but we want someone that's a bit distant and stern and someone that will drive, I guess, respect for the jumper. We're playing to win. We're playing to make the fans proud. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, spot on. Nice one. All right, mate. Well,
All right.
you enjoy the rest of your day and up the Saners.
Up the Saners. Thanks, mate. And chat to you soon.
Yo.
Catch ya.